So you know that game, Sally, that you
Mm.
play where you do two truths and one lie?
Yes.
Yes. Have you played that before?
Yes, great.
Yeah, it was always a great game at like
Yep.
they do it when you start new jobs and you go
Yeah, it's
around the room.
terrible. What is it called? What's it called?
What do you mean?
Like
What's it called?
icebreakers. Oh my
Oh,
gosh, my
icebreakers.
brain
Oh,
has
it was one of my more favorite ones. But I
Mm,
was talking to the kids about this the other day. We were
mm.
talking about it and we were trying to do it. And they were trying to do it to me. And I'm like, I literally know everything about you.
Yeah.
You really cannot trick me. But anyway, this is my classic one that I would use. Are you ready?
Okay.
I'm going to
Yeah,
give it
go,
to you.
go, go, go.
Okay. So here are my three, and I want you to guess which
Okay,
one. Okay.
great.
I was in a circus. I was in a movie with Julia Roberts,
Oh my
and I
God.
ran a performing arts school.
Am I allowed to answer?
Yeah, so which one's the lie?
I don't think you've been in a movie with Julia Roberts.
That's the lie?
Yep.
Incorrect. I
Oh,
have. How good is that?
were you not in a circus?
I was not at the circus.
Okay.
That is a lie. But I was in a movie with Julia Roberts.
Which
Is that not
movie?
the best?
That
I
is
was.
the best.
It is I've been using that for years. And the
Oh my
reason it
gosh.
comes up is because my son was watching the movie in class the other day and he
Oh,
told everyone my mum's in this movie. I am an extra in Charlotte's Web,
oh,
where
are
she
you?
voiced the spider. And so Dakota Fanning, who I actually was in the scene with,
Oh my
but
gosh.
I actually never met Julia Roberts.
Julia
She
Roberts.
voiced it from America, but it was
Still,
filmed
it's
in
her movie.
Melbourne, part of it. Part of it was filmed in Melbourne. I auditioned and I got a part.
Oh
I want
my
to say I
gosh.
won out by like millions of people, but also my mum was in it, my sister, her boyfriend at the
Oh, I
time,
love
three of my friends.
it.
We're all like these farm people
Oh,
walking
that's
around.
brilliant.
And I just remembered it again. I felt like I had to share it with you.
That's great. I'm
Is that not
so
the
pleased you
best?
shared that.
Thank
If
you.
I watch that movie, will I see you?
Look, you could. And just a fun fact, when
Oh,
we're lining up to get into our outfits, there were some women wearing these amazing dresses, and my sister and I were like, oh, we're so excited. No, we got given dungarees and my hair was put in
oh,
plaits. So that's beautiful. And I had to hold some like old man's hand for a while and pretend I
oh,
was like 20. I'm walking around
that's
eating
disgusting,
terry floss. It was
but
for
so much fun.
a week of
A
filming,
week.
a whole week to film the fair scene. So I'm in
That's
the fair.
wonderful.
Isn't it great? Fun fact. There you go.
Great fun fact. You'll have
I
to tell me
know.
later what your boys came up with as their lies.
So great. Good morning, Sally.
Good morning, Sienna. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good, very well, thank you.
Good. We always do such formal introductions.
I know it's very kind of like, and then we talk
Yeah,
about the weather or we talk about what we're
I know,
doing.
we do, but let's just get right into
All
it.
right, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about that this whole chronic illness game, it ain't fair. Or that's how we can often
Yeah,
feel. It's not fair.
it's just not fair. This
And I
isn't fair.
wanna, it's not fair. Oh,
Yeah.
how often do we hear that?
Oh
But
my gosh.
I'll
Silently within
feel
us.
it. Oh,
This
that's a
isn't
good
fair.
point. Feel it silently, sometimes feel it loud, and we're outraged and we tell people.
Yes.
But the reason I thought about this topic because last week I had a doctor's appointment. I was in at the hospital,
Yep.
meeting with a doctor and a couple of physios.
Yep.
And I have been working really, really hard on my fitness. The example I gave in last week's podcast does not indicate that I was when I go to the gym, but mostly I have been working really hard. So I have this appointment.
Yep.
It's all fine. And then at the end, the doctor says, look, I think there's weakness in your hip here and then this, and it's fine. Like what you need to do is go and see this person. They give me a card, go off and do that for a few months and then
Okay.
come back. So I'm like, okay. And I'm really
Mhm.
excited to be given like, oh,
Let's
this
have a
is great.
plan. I've got some
Yeah, I
actions,
love a
some
plan.
steps.
And I'm
Yep.
saying to them, thank you so much. Really
Yeah.
appreciate
Let's
it.
go.
And then I'm like, great, I'm gonna go to the cafe and get like a coffee and
Yeah.
a little
Donut.
treat, well,
Yeah.
actually a toasted sandwich. And,
Yep.
I say bye to them. Now, I really love this doctor and the physios. They're all lovely team, great, great team. So
Great.
I go and get my coffee, I go and get my toasted sandwich, really happy, walk back to my car, get in the car. I'm driving along, and all of a sudden I'm like my bottom lip. I'm like a child here, my bottom
Oh.
lip. So I'm sitting there with my bottom lip. I'm like, hmm. I'm like, this feels something. And then I'm like teary, and then my toasted sandwich drops in my lap, and then I lose it.
That was it.
That was it. I'm
Yep.
crying. I'm like, this is
Oh.
not effing fair. That's the first thing that came up. And it was interesting because I haven't felt that for quite some
Mm.
time, but I'm like, and then I had a lovely teary on the way home. And then I really lent into it with some angry, sad songs.
Good.
Right.
Bring it all out.
Bring it all out. But it
Oh,
was a
let it bubble.
moment where I was like, this is not fair. And how often have we heard that?
Great story, Siona, because how often do we go from like,
Mm.
yeah, look at me, I'm empowered and I'm imagine
Mm.
this situation so well. And then
Yeah,
it just like hits you like a ton of bricks. Why do I
totally.
have to manage this situation? I'm sick of managing this
Yeah,
situation.
yeah. I don't
And
want to
then
meet another physio. I don't want to drive to wherever I have to
no.
go.
And then my toasted sandwich dropped in my lap. That would have made me really go off.
Oh, it may. I still ate it
Good.
off my
Of
lap.
course.
Of
Well, there was no doubt.
course. I
There
know.
was no
I know.
doubt that
There
you
was
should have.
no doubt in
No,
anyone's
of
mind.
course.
But
But
yeah.
was there a little bit of grease stained anything or drippy tomato or something that would have made me cry even more?
Yeah, I continue to wear those pants for the rest of the
Oh,
day,
that's
though.
good.
I just
Yeah.
want people to know
Yeah.
that.
Good. Well
Yeah.
done. Oh, I'm sorry you had that experience, but I'm
Ah,
also so pleased that you leant into it and let the tears flow
yeah, I
because it's
did.
just not fair. So that was a beautiful way to start our
Yeah.
conversation today.
So
Not
let's get
fair.
into it because
Oh my
who listens to
gosh.
this podcast has not felt that at some
Yeah.
point?
At some point, and beautifully, maybe at a few different points along your journey,
Totally.
sprinkled randomly and sometimes unexpectedly. It's
Yes,
just
sometimes it
not
just,
fair. Sometimes you feel it coming out. Yeah.
yeah. I would say it's one of the most common thoughts in chronic illness at some point.
Yes,
And to your point
yes.
before, sometimes it can show up quietly,
Yep.
and then sometimes it can show up loud and strong, and the
Mm.
emotion is really, yeah.
Mm.
And
And it
it's,
could, oh,
oh no,
sorry.
you
I was
go.
going to say it can really often sit underneath other emotions that come up, like anger. We could just be really angry about something, and then we
Yeah.
realize, oh, maybe I'm responding this way because it's just really not fair. The
Yeah.
grief that comes with a lot of what people with chronic health conditions have to live with, the
Yeah.
frustration, all of those kinds of things can be hiding the statement or the sentiment of this is not fair.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think one of the ways I often see it show up for people
Yep.
is why me?
Oh, yeah. Why
Why
me?
me? This wasn't the plan. Why me? Certainly, I mean, and again, that can be at any point in the journey, certainly early on. You know what I think is really interesting, and we'll probably get to this later, but a lot of people are like, hang on, I was the person who was really healthy. I thought about what I ate.
Yes.
I
Oh, yeah.
exercised a lot. I did mindfulness.
Yes.
Like, why
That's right.
me?
Why would it
Like,
be
why not
me?
old mate over there who smokes
Yeah.
pack a day and drinks and
Correct.
eats whatever the hell they want?
Correct. So not only about that self-care aspect, I'm good, I'm healthy, this shouldn't have happened to me, but also, and often we see this from partners as well. Why was my partner diagnosed with this horrible, whatever
Mm,
chronic health condition? They're the best person I know. They're
yeah,
always helping others. They're
yeah,
always doing the right thing. So
yeah.
there's that kind of why me or why them as well. And
Yes,
why not that dickhead over in the corner that nobody likes who's always
that's
mean?
right. What's that saying? The good die young. It
Yes.
kind of, fits into that like, oh,
Yeah.
bad things happen to good people.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not saying that's the case, but we certainly feel
Yeah.
like, oh, that's not fair.
Yeah.
And is saying it's not fair really just a different way of saying this is really hard?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely 100%.
yeah.
But I don't think that often when we say this isn't fair, I don't think we realize that an equivalent statement could be
No,
this is really hard.
no. In fact, Sally, if I said this isn't fair and you said, I think what you're really trying to say is that this is really hard, I'd hate you.
You'd be like, okay, thanks for that. See ya.
Dead to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dead to
So
me.
we're not
All right, you
encouraging
don't
people
know
to
what
say
I'm
that.
talking about. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
that's right.
Oh my God. So why does it show up for so many people with chronic health conditions that we work with, that we know about, especially early on in their diagnosis? Why does it come out so liberally?
Well, it's that real disruption, isn't it? There's
Yeah.
such a shock. It's the uncertainty.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Like,
you're questioning everything, aren't you, at that time?
yes. Yep.
And there are so many big statements like this isn't fair or why me that are thrown around because everything is spinning out of control. And it's just natural to question everything.
Mm,
Like, what is
absolutely.
going on? Why is this happening? How did this come
Mm.
about?
Did you question it early on?
Yeah, I think absolutely. Because like I had no prior knowledge of MS, like both in no family members that I knew
Mm.
of, like none of that. So it was just like I felt like I'd been blindsided.
Yes.
So it wasn't so much of a this isn't fair necessarily, but certainly a why me? Like what? What? Hang on. You might
Yeah.
have the wrong person. Like how is this
Yes.
possible? For what
Yep.
you said before, but I'm pretty healthy. I'm do the right thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I
Mm,
felt it early on, but certainly in my journey, I was like,
mm.
I was not someone who was like out doing like crazy drugs like other
Mm.
people, or,
Mm.
wasn't that
No,
person. I was
you
pretty
weren't a
risk
risk taker.
averse. I wasn't a risk taker, no.
Yep, yep.
And what I always used to think in my head, which is really funny because there's no correlation, but I'm like, I'm a vegetarian.
Yeah.
How can, like, why?
I
Why
love
me?
that. I think that's so spot on.
It's so like I really
Yep.
genuinely for a while in my 20s were like, I've been a vegetarian since I was like 12.
Yep.
They start taking meat eater.
Fun. Yeah, that's right.
Like
And isn't it
sacrifice someone
amazing? Because
else.
while you're not a vegetarian for those reasons, maybe, I mean, maybe
No,
that's part, but at 12, I presume you're not
no,
saying,
no,
I
no.
want
I
a
just,
long and
I,
happy life, so I'm going to
yeah,
become vegan or vegetarian. Yeah, but you do think, but I'm doing the right thing morally.
yeah,
So
that's
why am I not repaid by the universe?
correct.
Yeah.
I hear some people say things like, what have I done in previous lives as well?
Oh,
Like we're even
yes.
grappling with, hang on, if it hasn't been now,
Yep.
what else happened?
Yeah.
Like,
What else? Yeah. Is this
yeah,
karma? What
yeah,
is
did I
going
take out
on?
some people in a past life? Like,
Yep.
why is this happening to me now?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of shock and disbelief and also comparison to others. Why me? Why not them? All of
Yes.
that. And I think a lot of it boils down to this real gap that we observe in people, particularly around newly diagnosed stages,
Mm.
where there's this gap that exists for them between their expectation of what was about to happen in their life and now all of a sudden the very bold, brash new reality that they're facing.
Yes.
And that shock really can be described by a lot as being a type of trauma, a traumatic event. And of course, that kind of trauma will bring on statements and feelings like, wow, this isn't fair. I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
Why is
Well
this happening to
said.
me? Yeah. I think if we look at the research around this, we look
Mhm.
at that early adjustment phase where we've talked about, often includes anger and comparison. Anger comes out as a natural response. Like we have to understand that it's natural for you to be driving home in your car and tearing up
Mm.
because you're having a response to a loss, a perceived future loss, a loss to your health, a loss
Mm.
to the predictability of your life that was
Yeah.
happening beforehand, or a previous sense of identity. And you and I love discussing self-identity in this podcast
Do.
and
Yep.
how important that is in the lives of people with chronic health conditions. And that anger can often be directed inward or towards others or at the situation itself. So when
Mm.
we say it isn't fair, it's not that we necessarily think the guy next to us deserved the diagnosis, but
Correct.
it's just that this isn't fair in my way of thinking about my life and what I'm expecting and what's coming.
Yes. I think
So
that's a really good point. We're not
yeah,
trying to pass it off and say that person deserves it. That would be
yes,
fair.
yeah.
Yeah, we're just talking about ourselves and the fairness that we feel. And I think that leads
Mm.
nicely into like what even is fairness?
Mm.
And why do we even
Yeah.
expect it? I had a
Yeah.
client say years ago, which was
Yep.
interesting because this is not usually the take that I hear from clients,
Hmm.
but uh, they said chronic illness is fair in terms of who gets it because it doesn't discriminate age,
Random.
race. Yeah, it's random. Wealth,
Yep.
culture,
Yep.
you live in the world. It doesn't discriminate, right? So it's fair
So it
in
is
terms,
fair.
well, it's fair in terms of how it's divvied out. I
Yep.
think
Mm.
it's not fair. The part that I would say when it comes to chronic illness that isn't fair is who has access to what, and
Oh
depending on
yeah,
where we
definitely.
like let's not go there, but that like
Right.
clear not fairness
We don't
in
want to
that
go there in
aspect.
terms of health systems and what
No,
people are
that's right. And
afforded.
how
Yeah.
correct, correct. So what you
Yeah.
have access to is
Yep.
different to how it's divvied out, so to
Yep.
speak. Like who gets the chronic health condition.
Yes. So if we look at the epidemiology of chronic health
Thank you. That's
condition,
a much better
it's
way of saying it.
statistically spread nicely with an even distribution. But if
Correct.
you look at the individual and how that plays out for that person,
Yes.
it definitely, well, definitely probably won't feel fair to that individual, but could even be less fair, I guess, perceived to be less fair, depending on where that individual lives, the resources available to them, the capacity
Yes.
they have to manage it, all of
Correct.
that. Oh yeah.
So chronic illness doesn't choose who it affects,
Yeah.
but it absolutely doesn't affect everyone equally.
Yes. Yes. I guess a lot of us live with that naivety for a while as we're growing up. I guess you're lucky if you can live with the naivety that life is going to be predictable, life
Yeah.
will be fair, we can
Yes.
make our own futures, and if we work hard and look after ourselves, we'll be
Mm.
okay. But as you and I know through our work with acceptance and commitment therapy, and if we look into Buddhism, I think Buddhism tells us that life is suffering, like that's a basic premise of that.
Yes, yes.
And that suffering will actually provide us with opportunities for growth and for wisdom and awakening. But there's a premise that I don't think most of us grow up believing, that life is
No,
suffering. So this idea of being diagnosed with something is not comfortable at all.
it's not comfortable at all. And I find it so interesting because
Mm.
we witness now that we are connected to the world through media and television and all these ways, we
Yep.
witness, you know, horrific things that happen all over the world. And often we think that would never happen to us or we can't
Yep.
identify it. Or even closer to home, someone who gets sick and then passes in a month. We're like, oh my gosh, but they
Oh,
feel so
yeah.
far removed. So we just are like, that's them, this is us.
Yeah.
That's but
Yeah.
then there's other aspects where we see people win millions and all these
Yeah.
positive things, and we think that could be
That
us.
could be me. Yeah, that
Yeah,
could be me.
actually, yeah,
I
like I
better
really
buy that
hope.
Tats Lotto ticket.
Correct. So then we're like, well, I could be in that. But then we look at those things, we're like, that's not me. Like
Yeah,
I'm
that's not
not
me.
part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
so true.
we do have this unbalanced kind of lens on fairness.
Yeah.
And if I do the right things,
Yep.
things should just work out well for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you do the right things and you live a life, like I don't know how many times I've said this, you should
Mm.
experience all the emotions and there will be suffering.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And everybody listening to this podcast, we could say that, couldn't we? Literally everybody listening to this podcast would understand that there could have been a time in their lives where they just thought if they did the right thing, if they followed
Yeah.
the rules or looked after their health or whatever, they'll be fine. And
Yes.
everybody listening now knows that, well, that is not how it goes. That's not how life
Correct.
works.
Correct.
Yeah. I find that interesting that collectively as a group, we all know that now.
Yeah, we do. We all know
Yeah.
that. We're
There are
like,
some people that don't, but people
no,
listening do.
the people listening
Weird.
do. We're part of a club now where we've experienced
Yeah.
suffering and
Yeah.
we know that life can just throw things at
Yeah.
any time.
Yep.
Mm.
Yeah. I've never subscribed to that people get what they deserve idea.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, countless examples of the opposite, like you and I have both discussed before, that when really good people in our lives have died too young, it's almost like the other way around.
Yes.
But I guess the fundamental belief or societal expectation is there that if you do the right thing, you'll be okay.
Yeah, it's that just world hypothesis.
Yeah, that's
Things
it.
are just, and unfortunately, they're not. They're just not. That's
No,
not how the way
not
the
how it
world
works.
works. No.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a really tricky one. I find that particularly hard to change our beliefs, but once it's happened to you and you're living in it,
Yep.
we have to have some acceptance over that this is life. Like we're
Yeah.
going to experience suffering and we're going to continue to experience it. And when I say it like that, it sounds all doom and gloom,
Yeah.
but amongst all of that, we will experience lots of other glorious things, I
Yes.
certainly hope.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about some specific examples of where this idea of it's not fair shows up in life for people living with chronic health conditions.
Yeah. Well, I think I touched on that, but that body
Yeah.
one, like my body is letting
Oh,
me down.
yes.
Like it's not doing, I've certainly felt that before in my
Oh,
life. It's not doing what I want, especially if I'm working hard. Like
yep.
my body is letting me down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's
it's
not
like,
fair.
this is not, yeah, it's not fair. It's not fair that I
Yeah.
can't do what I want. I can't, my body's not doing what I want it to do.
Yes.
And then an extension of that, I guess, is maybe how it can impact work.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
you know, if you can't do what you trained to do in your workplace anymore because of your chronic health condition, there's an example of a time where you might say, well, this isn't fair.
Yes. I've seen that one multiple
Yeah.
times with clients, especially
Yep.
when they get a diagnosis early on in a career where they've maybe studied years and years.
Yep.
That doesn't feel fair.
Yeah.
I studied 6 years to become this.
Yes.
I got to do it for 2 years and then I've had to leave that.
Yes. I've
Yeah.
spent my whole life training to be a builder and a carpenter, and now I
Yep.
can't get up a ladder.
Correct.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
Horrific.
The relationship space, there's a lot of
Yes.
not feeling fair because people feel like a burden or they feel
Yes.
misunderstood and they
Yep.
can feel like it's very, very unfair.
Yep. This also seeps into parenting. So you talked about
Mm.
relationships, but also into parenting and how it really just doesn't feel fair sometimes to have to make decisions that you don't see other parents making
Yes.
around how you spend time with your kids or how you engage with them or the
Yep.
types of things you can do together, all of that.
Yeah, and I think that in general, we can probably sum that up in terms of
Yep.
everyday life.
Yes.
All the invisible effort, all those decisions that
Yes.
maybe we perceive that others don't have to make, the pacing, the missing out,
Yep.
that's a breeding ground for that
Oh,
it's not
it's
fair
not fair.
thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, and an extension of that is all the invisible symptoms. Because
Yes.
all the invisible symptoms, like let's just take pain as a great example.
Mm.
My gosh, just living with pain that other people can't see,
Yeah.
surely that deserves a little, this isn't fair moment,
Yeah,
in the
absolutely.
car or
Absolutely.
otherwise,
Yeah. Yeah.
just having a moment of, wow, people cannot see what I'm dealing with here, that kind of
Yes.
sentiment. Yeah, it's not fair.
And I think to that point,
Mm.
it's really important for us to touch on why people don't say this out loud. They do sometimes, but
Oh,
why the it's not fair is often taken underground. It feels
yeah.
really negative, doesn't it?
It does. It feels really negative. It can feel very ungrateful if you, of course, I would say the vast majority of us have things to be grateful for.
Hmm.
Making a statement like, oh, this isn't fair, really does shine a light on, oh, well, you're not being very grateful at the moment for all the things that are going well in your life.
Mm.
So we tend to hold it back.
We do. I feel
Mm.
like people early on in a diagnosis, they feel like they're allowed to voice that it's not fair, but it's
Yes,
like you're only given a certain amount of time to feel it's not
correct.
fair, and then you have to like shut up and
You've
just
got a
suck it
48-hour
up.
limit on that, or
That's
like a
right.
3-week limit.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then you just get on with it, and then that's it.
Yes, because
Yeah.
otherwise people will be like, oh, she's not coping with it very well, is she? Because she keeps saying it's not fair. Whereas
Yeah.
that first initial conversation you might have with someone explaining your diagnosis, they'd be right on board with the it's not fair.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not fair. This is
Absolutely.
terrible that it's happening to
Yeah.
you. But a little while later, yeah, you're quickly told by society, I think, to keep it to yourself.
Correct.
Yep.
And you don't want people to minimize it either. You don't want people to be like, "Oh, you'll be okay.
Oh, look, it could be worse.
Oh, it could be worse. Like you're doing well."
Or one of my favorites, look, everything happens for a reason.
Oh, don't.
Oh,
Does it?
does it?
Does
No,
it?
Sienna and I have just explained that statistically it's just a random thing that happens.
Exactly. My gosh.
Or stay positive. So if you're saying to
Oh,
someone,
yeah.
this just really isn't fair, or if it's coming out of your mouth, then you
Hmm.
just don't want some of the responses that you can get. One
Yes.
of them being, oh, look, I think you should just stay positive because that's
Yes.
not how you're feeling emotionally in that moment if those
Yeah.
words are coming out of your mouth. So
Yes.
sometimes the responses are hard.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like we touched on before,
Mhm.
the thought of it doesn't feel fair, it's not fair, it can come back even years later. And
Yeah.
it can be triggered by numerous things. It could be triggered by flares,
Yes.
new limitations. Like in my case, a doctor being like, oh, hey, yeah, that's good, but this is now a problem, so go and
Yeah.
do some work there.
Yeah.
Like just, yeah, like a new thing to focus
Yeah.
on.
Yep.
It
Or
can,
even a new diagnosis.
oh yeah, a new
Because so
diagnosis.
often people will have a diagnosis of a chronic health condition and then it's almost piled on. They have more and
Yes.
more that, are diagnosed down the track.
Yeah.
And so there have to be many moments in those people's lives where they're just like, are you kidding me? Are you
Yeah.
kidding me? This is not
Absolutely.
fair. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So, Siona,
Yes,
when we
Ellie.
notice this thought creeping in,
Hmm.
not fair or why me, which I think are our two predominant things that we're discussing today,
Hmm.
what do we say as psychologists? What do we want to do with that? Because I think your example at the start was kind of perfect. Like you could, well, I don't know, you just gave me a
Well,
look of
thank
like,
you.
oh, I don't know about that. But that kind of, instead of shutting that down, like you could have felt a little bit teary and then just snapped yourself out of it, picked up that sandwich and kept eating
Yeah.
and kept driving.
Yep.
But I think it's really important that we let people know that it's okay to hold that thought for a little
Yeah.
bit longer than maybe they've been programmed to push it away.
Yeah,
It's actually
absolutely.
okay to sit with it.
Yep. The feeling of it is
Yep.
very important. We
Yep.
don't need to argue with that thought.
Yeah.
We do want to be cognizant that it's not the only story.
Yep.
It's never the
Good.
only
So we
story.
don't want to get stuck in it.
No, we
Yep.
don't. But
Yep.
I think it's the two things can be true at the one time, right? That this isn't fair.
Yeah.
And I'm still here and I've still got things to be grateful for. And I'm finding ways to live and whatever way we want to say, both of
Yep.
those are true.
Yeah. And so in your example, it was like that sense, I imagine, of feeling empowered that you had the next steps and you had action and you knew what you were doing with it. But that also this was just something that was an extra layer that you had to manage
Yeah.
and tapped into maybe some of that grief of
Yeah.
further loss or changes with your chronic health
Absolutely.
condition. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It was both of those. And
Yeah.
it didn't last and it didn't carry on for days, but I allowed it to be in that moment.
Yeah. Good. So what can help? You've said it, like naming the thought, being able to identify what's happening.
Mhm.
So when you say this isn't fair, maybe just sit with that for a second and see, well,
Yeah.
what is it that's not fair? And your thoughts and feelings are valid, and so you should be able to name them and
Yeah.
have that moment. So I think that like people might relate to examples like, I don't know, you leave a beautiful social occasion with your family or your friends, and you might be having an emotion about it. So you can just stop for a second, you can pause and you can
Mm.
say, I notice that sometimes I'm a little bit pissed off that everyone can leave that brunch and then go on with their day and continue to complete all the things on their to-do list while I have to go home and rest and recover.
Mm. Yep,
That kind of
absolutely.
statement. Or I notice sometimes that the pain that I'm having is so significant, it throws my ability to think. And then I can get really grumpy. And I've noticed that all these other emotions come out, and it's so unfair that I
Yeah.
have to cope with it when no one else does. Like I look around me, and nobody else that I know
Mm.
of, let's put that in, no one
Yeah,
else
that's
that I
right, that
know
I
of
know of.
is coping with all of the chronic pain that I'm coping with. And they can't even see what's going on for me.
Yes.
But I'm noticing that in myself. And you know what? That's legitimate. I'm allowed to have a moment.
Absolutely, that's legitimate. And naming it and calling it out
Yep.
can
Yep.
just take the sting out of it. Sometimes it certainly isn't going to make everything all better, but
No.
it's just allowing, it's holding space for ourselves.
Yes.
The
You can
other
have a
thing that
little
we
emotion.
can, what was that? Sorry?
You can have a little emotion. You can have a
You
little
can have
tear.
a little, oh
Or you
my
can mutter
goodness.
a few swear words under your breath.
Oh, why not?
Why
Don't you love
not?
doing that, Sally?
Sometimes
Muttering
I
a few.
do.
But you can talk to people who actually get it, right?
Yep, that's it.
That is wildly therapeutic. That's not the
Yep.
word I was looking for.
Yeah, but it's a good one though, because that's
Yeah,
true.
it is. Like,
Yep.
find the people who get it. Doesn't have to be
Yep.
exactly the same thing, but
Yep.
find people who understand.
Yeah. Or a therapist. I mean,
Or a
sometimes we don't even
therapist.
say that in this podcast,
We
but
don't, and
sometimes having a psychologist is
we
actually
forget
beneficial.
we forget about the fact that that's our roles. And
Yeah.
yes, absolutely find a psychologist that you've got
Yes.
good rapport with and go and tell
You
them,
can say this is really unfair.
yeah, and they should hold space and be like, you know
Yes.
what? That's
Yeah.
a bit shit.
It
Well,
is
I
a
mean,
bit
that's
shit. Well, you
that's
and I
what
would
we
say
were.
that,
We
but
would
not
say that. Maybe not
not
everyone, but they
every
might be thinking
psychologist
it
might.
for you.
Yep.
It doesn't mean they're looking at you and going, oh yeah, your life is effed and it's over.
Yeah.
But they're like, let's hold this. That is shit that you felt like that. It's
Yes.
not the end of life. You'll
No.
move
But
forward and onwards, but
yeah,
like, let's call it out.
you're allowed to have a moment and feel
Absolutely.
it and explore it and talk
Mm.
about it. And how often do we hear from strangers or people that we work with that, like, I just feel better that I've got that off my chest.
Yeah,
I just feel better that I
absolutely.
could share it with somebody to validate that, yes, sometimes this sucks. And then we just keep going.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
I we want to reduce the unhelpful comparisons where
Yeah.
possible. Now I know that this one's really tricky. Just
Where
a side
possible.
note,
Yeah.
there's like a man who lives up the road who must be like 90 and he's out running like every day. And
Oh
I
my
look at him and I'm like, wow.
Are you saying wow? Or are you like,
Well, in my head, I'm like,
get
how
down,
is
buddy?
that humanly possible? Man in your
Wow.
90s.
Good on him.
Yeah.
Is he doing a shuffle jog or is he like
No.
sprinting?
And look, to be fair, I don't know he's 90, but he's definitely 80 plus. And
Wow.
he is like fully out in his little shorts and like
Yeah.
good on him. And there's a part of it that's like good on him. And there's the other part that is like,
Oh.
God, that's amazing and pisses me off a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. I'm
But I'm
glad that you brought a
also
negative to it.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
because
I'm
like, come on.
also like good on him.
Yeah, of
But like,
course.
it's like we just want to catch it out. We want to catch out that
Yep.
behavior of
Yep. Yep. Yep.
comparison, really.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly.
Anything else?
I think a really important part is just to allow space for grief, because so much of the
Yeah.
why me or it's not fair just is
Yeah.
like tapping into a bit of grief. So
Yeah.
good idea to just be able to recognize that, just acknowledge it. You're allowed to grieve for what you thought you were going to be doing right now
Yes.
that you're
Yep.
not doing because of the overlay of this chronic health condition. So, just have a bit of space for that. Have a bit of
Absolutely.
self-compassion.
Yeah. A bit of
Love a bit
self-compassion.
of
Can we
self-compassion.
just let's make sure we can always get the word self-compassion in
Yeah,
every
exactly.
podcast. But I guess in closing
Yeah,
this, really, we want to say if you've ever had the thought this isn't fair, you are not
you're
alone.
not
We've all had that
alone.
thought. We may have had it multiple times. It's
Yeah.
just normal human response to something that just is bloody hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
Yep. Great. So what are you looking forward to, Sienna?
Oh, let me tell you, I
Oh,
was a huge fan of The Handmaid's Tale. I was pretty
oh
open about
yes,
that.
yes,
Loved
yes.
it,
I
loved
still
it.
haven't seen it.
Oh,
I
don't.
know
You can't go
it's
back.
gonna
And
be
it's
too
too
traumatic. Yeah,
dark.
but
It's, yeah,
oh,
don't.
yeah, okay.
But
Don't. Oh, yep.
we'll all do. But anyway, you'd
Yeah.
have to put in a lot of time now.
Yeah, yeah.
The Testaments, which is like the next, like
Yes,
we're
the next
10 years
chapter.
on, maybe. No, we're not that far on. It's wonderful.
Oh, I'm pleased to hear
It's,
that
I
for you.
started it last night and now I don't think I can work or eat
No, you just
or
have
do
to watch it.
anything else
Yeah, of
but watch it.
course. We
So
all understand that. Just call your
yeah,
clients. You can
yeah,
cancel a few
that's
sessions.
it. I'm out. I'm sick. What about you,
Oh,
Sally?
you're sick.
I'm sick.
I've got a
I gotta
cough.
go. And what about you, Sally? What are you looking forward to?
Well, I'm looking forward to a couple of interviews that we're going to do next week for our podcast and
Yes.
interviewing some fabulous people that we've got lined up next
Oh
week. So
my
I'm excited
God.
about that.
Yes, and speaking of that, we've got some exciting kind of podcasty news coming up in the next.
Too.
You're looking shocked, Sally. I'm like,
I'm
you
not
know this.
shocked.
No, you're not.
No, but
Yeah,
I'm thinking,
about
yes, we need to announce that at some
yeah,
point. So let's do that soon.
we'll be talking about in the next few weeks. So yes,
But also
good.
we're coming up to our 100th episode soon. So we also have to talk about that.
Oh, we do. Okay, a few things
But
to talk
yeah,
about, but
exactly.
have a great week and
You
we'll see you next
too.
week.
All right.
Okay,
See you,
bye.
Fiona. Bye.